Welcome back to the shop, everyone. It has been a while since I did anything on the car, and today I'm going to work on mounting this fire extinguisher right here for quick, easy access. So I mean, it's not too difficult. This piece here is just going to go around the cage. Okay, so there's a rubber piece that has to go in here. Gonna let the door close. Better check. Oh yeah, perfect. That's gonna rattle. Don't care for that. Yeah, I don't like that's gonna rattle around. I wish that was much more solid, either like 2 pins or something else, but whatever, it's in there. It's good enough. All right, now we get the fire extinguisher in, more safety equipment. So pull this panel out. What we got here is just a little shifter boot that's going to sit down in here. I will eventually build a proper cover for this. Right now this is just going to go down in here. If I can get it in there. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to go down in there and just kind of sit. Is that proper? No, it's not. This should be mounted down properly. But you know what, for right now, that is better than what I had. So, yeah, here we go. Done and done. Alrighty, welcome back to the shop, everyone. What we got going on today is we're gonna do a little suspension adjustment. So right now the car is kind of driving left, and I'm pretty sure it's because this tire here is the lower control arm is just a little short. So what's happening is the rear end is kind of cocked to the right a little bit. So if I extend out that lower control arm, it should make it so that this tire points more straight, and then that'll get the car going straight. So I think what happens is when the rear end points to the right, the rear body wants to drive this way, which pushes the front end that way. So if I extend this out on this side a little bit, it should just kind of tweak that rear end straight, and then the car should drive straight. I drove straight after I got the alignment done last year, but I redid the entire suspension in the back. If my little adjustment today doesn't fix this, I will just take this back in for a full alignment again. Not a big deal. The second thing we got to do is look at the e-brake. So when I rip on that e-brake, it goes all the way up and it doesn't stop the car at all. So now that I've been using the brakes and maybe the shoes in there are a little bit more centered, we'll take the wheels off and we'll just look at what the parking brake is doing in there, and I might just need to adjust it out like I've done before, which shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, I'll start by cracking all the lug nuts loose. We'll jack up the rear end, get some jack stands under it. Yeah, let's just go. All right, we got something pretty awesome happening right now. Got my new block, so we're just gonna back the truck down and unload it. I thought I was gonna need the engine hoist to do it, but don't necessarily think I will. I'm gonna try and get the truck backed up over here because the block's just gonna sit over here for now. Now, and I've never backed the truck into the garage, so I do want to make sure I got enough clearance. Yeah, I think I do. So this block ain't exactly light. It also ain't exactly heavy. Yeah, I think I can hopefully not throw my back out while I do this. The bottom of this is just absolutely fucked though. Gonna sit for a bit. Yeah, that's where she is gonna sit for a little bit. We will go through it though. We'll open this up in a little bit, but blocks on the ground. I'm gonna go through and make sure it is what I want and all that stuff. But that's it for now. All right. Well, I got excited. So since the bottom of the box is kind of fucked, I want to open this up right now. Because then if I got to go back to the person I bought it off and be like, hey, the block is chipped, or, you know, whatever the case may be, I can do that now, today, versus, you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, being like, oh, hey, this is all messed up, and him being like, well, sorry, it's too late now. Oh, yeah, look at that dart block. God, that looks good. 4-bolt splayed mains and 2, 3, and 4. Oh, this is a sexy, sexy unit. I do want to stand it up. Oh, it ain't light, I'll tell you that. I mean, the fact I got it out of the truck's kind of a miracle. I do want to see that other side though. Just roll it maybe. Okay. Yeah, it all looks fine. Yeah, even though the bottom of this is all coming apart, this all looks totally fine. To my eye, at least. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna real quick grab some calipers and just double check that is 4125 bore. Okay. Yeah, 4125 bore. Or at least we're over 4, so we're gonna be close enough that I'm gonna call that's good. Alright, so I was just out driving the car around today. I got, you know, a good solid 30 minutes driving each way. And so while we under the car, got it jacked up. I know you can't really see it on camera, but there's going to be a chunk of this pipe here that's really dark, and it's much darker than the rest of the pipe. Well, that's because our pinion is leaking diff oil through the splines and through the nut, and then it's getting sent out of this yoke. I'll see if I can set you up here differently for a second. I am going to have to take the drive shaft out, so I can't leave the camera here for too terribly long. But everywhere around the seal itself and this front piece is dry. It's only wet from here back. And I mean, it's sprayed all up into the trans tunnel and, you know, on suspension and stuff like that. But it feels like it's coming out of the middle here. And in the middle of the yoke, it's very, you know, tons of fluid, very wet. And after some research, I found out that usually there's some sealer on the back of the nut and on the threads, and you know, if that sealer doesn't hold, it'll leak fluid through the splines. So what we are going to do is we are going to pull the drive shaft out. So these 4 9/16 bolts here, just kind of drop this, let it flop. I don't need to pull it right out of the trans. Pull the nut off the pinion. Clean this up best I can, put some sealer on the back of that nut or kind of in here in an area where it's going to get on the splines, Loctite the nut with red Loctite, drive it back on. But it is definitely wet in behind that nut. All right, so this is the actual nut that came out of there. You can see there's this orange compound that came from the factory. Well, I think this is an All-Star Performance, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily factory, but it came with this orange compound. Obviously this didn't seal. It looks like this nut might just hit on the very outer edge on that flange. So I'm not sure if there's supposed to be another washer for that specific flange with this drive shaft, but I never got one when I got the drive shaft. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Permatex thread sealant, and we are going to put it on the back face of this. And then I will see if I can get a little tiny bit on the threads itself. Even though it didn't look like it was coming out of the threads, it looked like it was coming from behind here and out. These threads look pretty dry. But yeah, put some sealant on here to hopefully seal that to the pinion flange. And then I'll put a tiny bit of sealer just on the very back of the threads on the pinion itself. And then we're going to take some high temp thread locker on the actual threads to keep this locked in. And that is hopefully how we're going to fix this. I'll go ahead, I'll take some degreaser, I'll clean that all up, I'll blow it out with air so it's a nice fresh dry surface. Yeah, don't think I got anything else to say. Let's get to it. Well, folks, as always, if you stuck around this long, I'd like to thank you for viewing, and we'll see you in the next one.